Hello everyone, and thanks for joining again. Well, look what we've got to have a look at today. It is 3 beer wagons, and they're very big as well because they're actually in G scale. Now, I normally do HO or 00 scale, so to give you an idea of the difference in size, here is an HO scale beer wagon. You can see straight away the difference in scale here. These 3 models that we're going to have a look at today really are something quite special. So let's get into it. So all 3 of these wagons are essentially the same, they just have different decoration on them. So let's have a look at the brightest one, this yellow one here. So straight away you'll see how impressive this wagon is. It's designed to be used in the garden. Obviously you'd need a massive big indoor layout to be able to run something this big and have a few of them on a train. This one has a number of really nice features on it. So at this end here we've got some ladders added on. These are extra plastic parts that have been added onto the basic moulding, and there's an extra handrail here on the side. And looking down the side of this wagon you have another handrail here, and you have this really attractive logo of the brewery that this is advertising. Here you can see SBB CFF, so this is obviously a Swiss wagon. Further down you can see this door with these really cool hinges. I'll show you this opening in a moment. And finally down here you've got more branding of the brewery and Basel as well, so that's obviously the location where this brewery is. And you can see even down the bottom here it's got some additional printed on here, some extra numbers, and also up here printed are some additional numbers about the wagon, and also these 2 panels down here. So there's a lot of decoration going on this model. Down this end you can see that it has also the handrails, but it has this extra part added on. I think this is to open the hatches or something at the top. I'm not quite sure. I'm not so up on these kind of beer wagons. If you know what this is about, please let me know in the comments. I'd really like to know. And it also has things like these brackets on the corners, very nicely moulded in as well. So on the top of the model it has these opening hatches which are really nice. So obviously on one of these in real life this is for putting ice into the wagon to keep the beer cool. You can see inside there's not a huge amount of detail there. You can see where the handrails from outside have come through and little studs there. There is some detail of the floor, but as we go along the roof here there's a lot of detail. Things like the wood effect on the boards on the top here, and even the texture of this roofing part here as well. And at this end there's another 2 opening doors. Talking of opening doors, check this out. This has actually even got a little hatch that pulls it up and then opens the door like this. And you can see the floor here. It's moulded in a wood effect, but there are a number of compromises here. You can obviously see all these black dots on the inside here where the pieces of plastic have been bonded together. So there is a lot of opportunity here if you wanted to have these doors open to modify this and make it look really cool. Maybe even add a load. But those working hinges and the working catch is really something quite cool. Looking down underneath this wagon, there's a lot of detail that's been added on here. You can see the cross bracing has all been moulded very faithfully, and there's details here of like the brake gear and the rods that affect all the braking system. So they've been all added on there. It's all really nicely done. Now I did get all 3 of these models second hand, but you wouldn't really notice it. It looked so clean. The wheels revolve so freely and they are really quite cool as well. They've got these spokes on them. So that is a really nice attention to detail and really quite attractive. The bogies as well are really nicely detailed. There's no working springs on these. Some of the other G scale models do. I don't think it really needs it. It looks really nice anyway. So on this end we have this kind of coupling here. It's just a hook and a ring. It looks a little bit like Hornby couplings. And on this end we've got a more traditional looking American coupling. And I really like these couplings that couple up very much like the prototype. This wagon is identical to the yellow one except for the printing on the side. It's a different beer company and it has this really large yellow beer logo here. Now some of the printing on here isn't too great. It's a little bit fuzzy along the bottom edge of this one. So that's a bit of a shame. They've got really no excuse for that on a G scale model because this is so big. You're bound to have been able to get that right. But aside from the decoration and the colour, that's identical to the first. And finally we have this black one. So again, this is identical model. It's got the same hatches on the top, although obviously this is silver this time rather than grey. And the plastic is black on this one because it's got a different logo, Porter this time around. And further down here you've got this large Porter logo and some other graphics printed here as well. So all 3 of these wagons look really cool. I think they would make an excellent train, and they've got an option to add even more detail if you want, especially around the interior. So let's just have a look at the packaging now. So all 3 of these wagons come in this really good looking Liliput box. It's obviously a Bachmann Europe model. Inside these boxes is a polystyrene tray and a plastic sleeve which protects the model from damage. It's really well packaged. The packaging looks really good. So overall, I think these models from Liliput are actually really cool. Obviously they're designed for garden railways, so they can take a few knocks here and there, but yet they still have a lot of detail on them, and things I really like are the spoked wheels and the bogies, which are very detailed. I also like the fact it's got opening hatches on the roof, and the doors as well with their catches is actually quite a cool feature. Some of the things that let this down, I think, is the interior detail, where you can see the studs coming through, especially on the doors, and in places some of the printing isn't as crisp as it could be. I've seen it crisper on smaller models, but each of them has its own appeal because of the bright graphics. I think out of the three of them, I think the yellow one for me is the most attractive because it really stands out and I really like the graphics on it. If you have a garden railway and you're looking for some wagons for it, I think any of these three would make an attractive addition to your layout, and maybe all coupled up and being pulled behind a vintage steam locomotive, they would look really quite fantastic. You could also add some details onto this, maybe a hobo hitching a lift on one of them, or maybe some additional details inside. So there's a lot of potential here. They look really good, and I think it would make a great addition to your model railway layout. Let me know what you thought about this video and my analysis of these models in the comments below. I'd really be interested to hear what you think. Please give this video a thumbs up, it really helps this channel, and you can subscribe for more videos like this in the future. But for now, that's it for today. See ya!